I was folding laundry in my living room when I saw my brother's face on the television screen. Not in a commercial. Not in some random crowd shot. Standing right next to my ex-husband. At a press conference. Smiling like they were best friends. The remote slipped from my hand and clattered onto the floor. My brother James had called me 3 days ago to cancel our weekly dinner. He was too busy with work, he'd said. Too many projects. Too much travel. He'd make it up to me next week, he promised. But there he was, on live television, standing beside the man who destroyed my life 2 years ago. Standing beside Richard. My ex-husband Richard, who cheated on me with his assistant. Who drained our joint bank account. Who'd left me with nothing but debt and a broken heart. And my brother was standing next to him, shaking hands with reporters, looking proud and professional in an expensive suit I'd never seen before. I grabbed my phone and called James. It rang 4 times. Then voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I sent a text. I'm watching you on TV right now. With Richard. Call me. Now. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then appeared again. Finally a response. I can explain. Not now. I'll call you later. Later. My brother was on national television with my ex-husband, and he'd call me later. I stared at the TV screen trying to understand what I was seeing. The cheering at the bottom read, Tech startup announces $50 million funding round. CEO Richard Morrison and COO James Chan celebrate major investment. Who? Chief Operating Officer. My brother was the COO of Richard's company. My brother, who I'd cried to for months after Richard left. Who'd helped me move out of the house Richard and I had shared. Who'd told me Richard was scum and I deserved better. That brother was now Richard's business partner. I turned up the volume. Richard was speaking into a microphone, his voice smooth and confident. This funding represents a major milestone for Morrison Tech. With this investment, we'll be able to expand our AI platform to serve millions of users worldwide. And I couldn't have done this without my incredible team, especially my COO James Chan, who's been instrumental in getting us to this point. The camera panned to James. He smiled and waved. James joined us 18 months ago, Richard continued, and his expertise in operations and strategy has been invaluable. He's not just a colleague, he's a friend, someone I trust completely. 18 months ago. 18 months. That was 6 months after my divorce was finalized. 6 months after James had sat in my apartment, eating pizza with me, telling me I was better off without Richard. And the whole time he'd been planning to go work for him. My phone rang. It was my best friend, Melissa. Are you watching this? She asked without preamble. Yes. What the hell, Vanessa? Your brother is working with Richard. Apparently. Did you know? No. I had no idea. How is that possible? How could he hide this from you for 18 months? I don't know. My voice sounded strange. Distant. Like it belonged to someone else. Vanessa, are you okay? No. I'm not okay. My brother has been lying to me for a year and a half. He's been working with the man who destroyed my life, and he never told me. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. I know. What are you going to do? I don't know. He said he'd call me later. I guess I'll wait. Don't wait. Go to his apartment. Confront him in person. He owes you an explanation. He's probably still at the press conference. Then wait outside his apartment. Ambush him when he gets home. Vanessa, you can't let him brush this off. This is huge. She was right. I grabbed my keys and headed out the door. James lived in a luxury apartment building downtown. The kind with a doorman and a gym and a rooftop terrace. I'd always wondered how he could afford it on his salary. He told me he'd gotten a big promotion at his consulting firm. Now I knew the truth. He could afford it because Richard was paying him. I sat in my car in the parking garage waiting. 2 hours later, James's Tesla pulled into his reserved spot. I got out of my car and walked over. James saw me and froze. Vanessa, what are you doing here? You said you'd call me later. I decided later was now. James looked around nervously. Can we talk inside? Not here. Fine. We rode the elevator to the 15th floor in silence. James's apartment was exactly as I remembered it. modern furniture, expensive art on the walls, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of the city, all paid for by my ex-husband. Do you want something to drink? James asked. No. I want an explanation. James sighed and sat down on his leather couch. I knew you'd be upset. Upset? James, I'm beyond upset. You've been working with Richard for 18 months and you never told me. You lied to me. You've been lying to me this entire time. I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. That's the same thing. No, it's not. I never said I wasn't working with Richard. You never asked. I stared at him. Are you serious right now? You're really going to play semantic games with me? I'm just saying I didn't technically lie. You told me you got a promotion at your consulting firm. That was a lie. I did get a promotion before I left to join Morrison Tech. And then you let me believe you were still working there for 18 months. That's lying by omission, James. He rubbed his face. Okay, fine. I should have told you. But Vanessa, you have to understand, this was an incredible opportunity. Richard's company is going to be huge. We just raised $50 million. We're going to IPO in 2 years. This is going to make me rich. So you sold me out for money. I didn't sell you out. Your divorce has nothing to do with my career. He's my ex-husband, the man who cheated on me, the man who stole from me, and you're working with him. That's between you and Richard. It has nothing to do with me. I felt like I'd been slapped. Nothing to do with you? James, you're my brother, my only sibling. You were supposed to be on my side. I am on your side. No, you're not. You're on Richard's side. You're his CEO. You're his friend. You said so yourself on TV. That was just PR talk. I had to say that. Did you have to mean it? Because you look pretty genuine up there, shaking hands and smiling. James stood up. Vanessa, I'm sorry you're upset, but I'm not going to apologize for taking a good job. Richard is a brilliant businessman. What he did to you was wrong, but that doesn't mean I can't work with him. Yes, it does. That's exactly what it means. You don't get to be loyal to both of us. You have to choose. That's not fair. Life's not fair, James. I learned that when my husband cheated on me and my brother betrayed me. I didn't betray you. Yes, you did. The moment you shook Richard's hand and agreed to work for him, you betrayed me. We stood there staring at each other. I'm not quitting, James said finally. If that's what you're asking, I'm not doing it. This job is too important to me. More important than your sister? James didn't answer. And that was all the answer I needed. I walked to the door. Vanessa, wait. Don't. Just don't. I can't look at you right now. I left his apartment and drove home in a daze. My brother had chosen Richard over me. My own brother. When I got home, I poured myself a large glass of wine and sat on my couch, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Saw James on TV. So proud. Did you know about his new job? I stared at that message for a long time. Then I called her. Vanessa, did you see? Your brother was on the news. Yeah, Mom. I saw. Isn't it wonderful? He's doing so well. CEO of a tech company. And they just raised $50 million. Can you imagine? Mom, did you know he was working with Richard? Silence. Mom. Yes. I knew. The room tilted. You knew? You knew and you didn't tell me. James asked me not to. He said he'd tell you when the time was right. When the time was right. It's been 18 months. I know, sweetheart. But James said you were still so hurt from the divorce. He didn't want to upset you. So instead he lied to me for a year and a half? And you helped him. We didn't lie. We just didn't mention it. That's lying, Mom. Don't raise your voice at me, Vanessa. Don't raise my voice. My brother has been working with my ex-husband and you knew about it and you didn't tell me. How am I supposed to react? I understand you're upset, but you need to calm down. James made a career decision. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. Richard destroyed my life. Richard made mistakes in your marriage. But that doesn't mean James can't work with him. They're separate things. No, they're not. You don't get to be friends with someone who hurt your family. James isn't friends with Richard. They're business associates. He called him a friend on TV, Mom. I heard him. My mother sighed. Vanessa, you need to let this go. You're being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable? I'm being unreasonable. Yes. You're letting your emotions cloud your judgment. James has a right to pursue his career without your approval. I'm not asking for approval. I'm asking for loyalty. I'm asking for my family to not work with the man who destroyed me. Richard didn't destroy you. You're being dramatic. I hung up. I couldn't believe it. My own mother was taking James's side. My phone rang immediately. My mother calling back. I didn't answer. She called 3 more times. I ignored all of them. Then a text. Don't be childish. Call me back so we can discuss this like adults. I threw my phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. I sat there breathing hard, trying not to cry. My brother had betrayed me. My mother had betrayed me. My entire family had chosen Richard over me. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. Most were from my mother. A few from James. One from my Aunt Linda. I ignored all of them. Called in sick to work. I taught 3rd grade at an elementary school, and there was no way I could face a classroom full of 8-year-olds today. I spent the day in my pajamas, eating ice cream and watching trash TV. Around 3 p.m. there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole. Melissa. I opened the door. You look terrible, she said. Thanks. I brought reinforcements. She held up a bag. Wine, chocolate, and trashy magazines. You're a good friend. We settled on the couch. Melissa poured wine while I opened the chocolate. So, she said, tell me everything. I did. I told her about confronting James, about his refusal to quit, about my mother knowing and not telling me. Melissa listened without interrupting. When I finished, she said, your family sucks. Yeah. No, I mean it. They really suck. What kind of brother works with his sister's ex-husband? What kind of mother hides that from her daughter? The kind I apparently have. Have you talked to your dad? I shook my head. My parents are divorced. I haven't talked to my dad in years. He moved to Florida with his new wife. Maybe you should call him. Get his perspective. I don't know. We're not close. You're not close with your mom or brother anymore either. Might as well expand your options. She had a point. That night, after Melissa left, I found my father's number in my phone. I stared at it for 10 minutes before I finally called. He answered on the 3rd ring. Vanessa? Is everything okay? Hi, Dad. Yeah, everything's... Actually, no. Everything's not okay. What's wrong? I told him. About James and Richard. About my mother knowing. My father was quiet for a long time. Then he said, I'm not surprised. What? I'm not surprised. Your mother always favored James. And James always put himself first. That's not fair. Isn't it? Think about it, Vanessa. When has James ever sacrificed anything for you? I opened my mouth to argue, then closed it. Because my father was right. James had always been the golden child. The successful one. The one my mother bragged about. And I'd always been... the other one. The teacher. The one with the failed marriage. The disappointment. I'm sorry this happened to you, my father said. But I'm not surprised. Your mother and James are cut from the same cloth. They care about success and money and status. They don't care about loyalty. That's harsh. It's true. Why do you think your mother and I got divorced? She cared more about appearances than about our actual relationship. I never thought about it that way. What should I do? I asked. What do you want to do? I want my brother to quit his job. I want my mother to apologize. I want my family to choose me over Richard. That's not going to happen. I know. So what are you really asking me? I thought about that. I guess I'm asking if I'm wrong. If I'm being unreasonable. If I should just accept this and move on. Do you think you're being unreasonable? No. I think I have a right to be angry. Then be angry. You don't need anyone's permission to feel what you feel. But everyone's telling me I'm overreacting. Everyone's wrong. Vanessa, your ex-husband hurt you. Badly. And your brother decided that didn't matter. that his career was more important than your pain. You have every right to be furious. Hearing my father say that made something inside me break. I started crying. Thank you, I whispered. Thank you for saying that. I'm sorry I haven't been a better father to you. I should have been there more after your divorce. It's okay. No, it's not. But I'm here now. If you need me. Thanks, Dad. After we hung up, I felt slightly better. At least someone was on my side. The next day I went back to work. My students were happy to see me. They'd made me get well cards, assuming I'd been sick. I smiled and thanked them and tried to focus on teaching. But my mind kept wandering. I kept thinking about James and Richard, about the press conference, about the $50 million. During my lunch break, I Googled Morrison Tech. The company had been founded 3 years ago, right around the time Richard and I had separated. I'd known Richard was starting a company. He talked about it constantly during our marriage. His big idea, his chance to be a billionaire. I'd supported him. I'd worked extra hours to pay our bills while he worked on his startup. I'd believed in him. And then he cheated on me with his assistant, Sarah. 23 years old, blonde, perky Sarah who laughed at all his jokes and thought he was a genius. The divorce had been ugly. Richard had emptied our joint bank account, money I'd earned, and used it to fund his company. By the time I realized what he'd done, it was too late. The money was gone. My lawyer had tried to get it back, but Richard's lawyers were better. They argued that the money had been used for a legitimate business purpose, that Richard had every right to invest marital assets in his company. I'd walked away from my marriage with nothing. No money, no house, just debt and a broken heart. And now Richard's company was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Money that should have been partly mine. Money he'd stolen from me. I kept reading. Morrison Tech had developed an AI platform for customer service. It was apparently revolutionary. Companies were lining up to use it. And James was the COO, the second in command. I found an interview James had done with a tech blog 6 months ago. I joined Morrison Tech because I believed in Richard's vision, James said in the interview. He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. Working with him has been an incredible experience. I felt sick. My brother had given an interview praising Richard 6 months ago, and I'd had no idea. How had I not known? I thought back over the past 18 months. All the times James had canceled plans. All the times he'd been vague about work. All the times he'd changed the subject when I asked about his job. I thought he was just busy. I thought he was stressed. I'd never imagined he was lying to me. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, Vanessa? It's Sarah. I froze. Sarah, Richard's assistant, the woman he cheated on me with. What do you want? My voice was ice. I need to talk to you. It's important. I have nothing to say to you. Please, just give me 5 minutes. I have information you need to hear. About what? About Richard. And your brother. I hesitated. What about them? Not over the phone. Can we meet? Tomorrow? There's a coffee shop on 5th Street. Brew and Bean. Can you meet me there at 10 a.m.? Why should I trust you? You shouldn't. But I think you'll want to hear what I have to say. She hung up before I could respond. I stared at my phone. Sarah wanted to meet with me. The woman who destroyed my marriage wanted to meet with me. This had to be a trap. Or a joke. Or something. But what if it wasn't? What if she really did have information about Richard and James? I barely slept that night. The next morning I called in sick to work again. My principal was going to start asking questions, but I didn't care. I drove to Brew and Bean and arrived at 9:45. Sarah was already there, sitting at a corner table, nursing a latte. She looked different than I remembered. Older. Tired. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wasn't wearing makeup. She looked ordinary. She saw me and waved nervously. I walked over and sat down across from her. "Thank you for coming," Sarah said. "I'm here. Talk." Sarah took a deep breath. "I know you hate me. You have every right to. What I did was wrong. I'm not going to make excuses." "Good. Because I don't want to hear them. I'm not with Richard anymore. We broke up 6 months ago. Congratulations." He cheated on me. With his new assistant. I almost laughed. Karma's a bitch. Yeah, it is. Sarah looked down at her coffee. When it happened, I finally understood what I'd done to you. How much I'd hurt you. And I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. Is that why you called me? To apologize? No. I called you because I think Richard is screwing over your brother. And I thought you should know. I leaned forward. What do you mean? The $50 million funding round? It's not what it seems. Richard structured the deal so that he keeps majority control of the company. James thinks he's going to be rich when the company IPOs, but he's not. Richard made sure of that. How do you know this? I still have friends at the company, people who tell me things. And I saw the cap table. James's equity stake is tiny, like less than 2%. When the company goes public, Richard will make hundreds of millions. James will make maybe $5 million. Before taxes. $5 million is still a lot of money. Not compared to what Richard's making. And not compared to what James thinks he's going to make. Richard's been telling James he'll be worth $50 million after the IPO. He's lying. I sat back. Why are you telling me this? Because Richard is a liar and a cheat. And because your brother helped him screw you over in your divorce. I thought you'd want to know that Richard's doing the same thing to him. How did James help Richard screw me over? Sarah looked uncomfortable. You don't know. Know what? James was the one who told Richard to empty your joint bank account. He's the one who suggested using the money to fund the company. He said you'd never be able to prove it was wrong, and he was right. The coffee shop spun around me. What? James advised Richard during your divorce. He helped him hide assets. He helped him structure things so you'd get nothing. I'm sorry. I thought you knew. I couldn't breathe. James hadn't just worked with Richard. He'd helped Richard destroy me. I have proof, Sarah said. She pulled out her phone and showed me screenshots of emails. Emails between James and Richard dated 2 years ago, right in the middle of my divorce. Move the money before she notices. Her lawyer is asking questions. Stall. The business expense angle will work. Trust me. Email after email. James advising Richard. James helping Richard steal from me. Why? I whispered. Why would he do this? Richard promised him a job. A big job. CEO of the company. James wanted it. So he helped Richard screw you over to get it. I felt like I was going to throw up. I need to go, I said, standing up. Wait. There's more. More? What else could there possibly be? Richard's planning to push James out. After the IPO, he's already talking to headhunters about replacing him. James has no idea. Why are you telling me this? Because Richard's a monster. And I'm tired of watching him hurt people. I thought maybe you could warn James. Or maybe you just enjoy watching him get what he deserves. Either way, I thought you should know. I walked out of the coffee shop in a daze. James had betrayed me. Not just by working with Richard, but by actively helping Richard destroy me during the divorce. My own brother had helped my husband steal from me. I got in my car and drove. I didn't know where I was going. I just drove. I ended up at the beach. I parked and walked down to the water. It was a Tuesday morning. The beach was nearly empty. I sat in the sand and stared at the ocean. My brother had sold me out. For a job. For money. For success. He'd helped Richard steal from me, and then he'd lied about it for 2 years. My phone rang. James. I answered. Vanessa, we need to talk. Yeah, we do. Mom told me you're not returning her calls. You need to stop being childish about this. Childish? Yes. You're throwing a tantrum because I took a job you don't approve of. You need to grow up. I just had coffee with Sarah. Silence. What? Sarah. Richard's ex-girlfriend. The one he cheated on me with. We had coffee this morning. Why would you do that? She wanted to tell me something interesting. She wanted to tell me that you helped Richard steal from me during our divorce. More silence. James? Do you have anything to say? I don't know what she told you, but she showed me emails. Your emails. Advising Richard on how to hide assets from me. How to empty our bank account. How to make sure I got nothing. Vanessa, it's not what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like you betrayed me. It looks like you helped my husband destroy me so you could get a job. I was just giving him business advice. I didn't know he was going to. Don't lie to me. The emails are clear. You knew exactly what you were doing. Okay, fine. Yes, I helped him. But Vanessa, you have to understand, Richard offered me an incredible opportunity. I couldn't turn it down. So you sold me out. I didn't sell you out. I made a business decision. You helped him steal from me. It was marital assets. He had a right to use them. Not without telling me. Not by emptying our account in the middle of the night. That was his decision, not mine. But you advised him to do it. You told him how to do it. You helped him. I was looking out for my own interests. I'm your sister. And Richard was offering me a chance to be a millionaire. What was I supposed to do? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You were supposed to choose me, I said quietly. You were supposed to be on my side. I'm sorry you feel that way. You're sorry I feel that way? That's your apology. I'm not apologizing. I didn't do anything wrong. You betrayed your own sister. I made a smart business decision. I'm sorry you can't see that. I hope it was worth it, James. It was. I'm going to be rich. No, you're not. Richard's screwing you over. He's planning to push you out after the IPO. You're going to make a fraction of what he promised you. That's not true. Sarah showed me the cap table. Your equity stake is tiny. Richard lied to you. You're lying. Why would I lie? I have no reason to lie. But Richard does. He's using you, James, just like he used me. And when he's done with you, he's going to throw you away. You're just jealous. Jealous? Of what? Of you working for the man who destroyed my life? Of you betraying me for money? Yeah, I'm super jealous. I'm done with this conversation. So am I. Don't call me again. I hung up, and then I blocked his number. I blocked my mother's number too. I was done with both of them. I sat on the beach for another hour watching the waves. Then I drove home and called my lawyer. Vanessa, is everything okay? No, but I need your help. I have new evidence about my divorce. Evidence that Richard committed fraud. And I want to reopen the case. My lawyer, Patricia, was quiet for a moment. What kind of evidence? Emails. Between Richard and my brother. Showing that they conspired to hide assets from me during the divorce. Showing that Richard deliberately emptied our bank account to fund his company without my knowledge or consent. Where did you get these emails? Richard's ex-girlfriend gave them to me. Will she testify? I don't know. But I have screenshots. And I can subpoena the originals. This is serious, Vanessa. If you're right, Richard could face criminal charges. And your brother could too. Good. Are you sure you want to do this? Going after your own brother? He's not my brother anymore. He stopped being my brother when he helped Richard destroy me. Okay, send me the emails. Let me review them. If they're as damaging as you say, we can file a motion to reopen the divorce case. We can argue fraud and seek to set aside the original settlement. How long will it take? Months. Maybe years. This won't be quick or easy. I don't care. I want justice. All right. Send me everything you have. I forwarded Sarah's screenshots to Patricia. Then I sat back and waited. For the first time in 2 years, I felt like I had some control. I was fighting back. And I wasn't going to stop until Richard and James paid for what they'd done. Over the next few weeks, Patricia reviewed the evidence. She confirmed that the emails were damaging. Very damaging. They showed a clear pattern of conspiracy to defraud me during the divorce. Richard and James had worked together to hide assets, empty accounts, and structure the divorce settlement to benefit Richard at my expense. It was fraud. Clear, obvious fraud. Patricia filed a motion to reopen my divorce case. Richard's lawyers fought it. They argued that too much time had passed. That I'd already agreed to the settlement. That I couldn't just change my mind now. But Patricia argued that I'd been defrauded. That my consent to the settlement had been obtained through lies and deception. That the settlement should be set aside. The judge agreed to hear arguments. The hearing was scheduled for 2 months later. In the meantime, the story leaked to the press. Tech CEO accused of defrauding ex-wife. Read the headline in the local business journal. Then the tech blogs picked it up. Then the national news. Suddenly, everyone was talking about Richard Morrison and his fraud allegations. Morrison Tech's investors were nervous. The IPO was in jeopardy, and James was panicking. He tried to call me. I didn't answer. He showed up at my apartment. I didn't let him in. He sent me emails. I deleted them without reading. My mother called from a different number. I hung up as soon as I heard her voice. I was done with both of them. Melissa was my only support system. She came over almost every night, bringing wine and food and moral support. "You're doing the right thing," she told me. "They deserve this." I know, but it's hard. Of course it's hard. They're your family, but they betrayed you. You have every right to fight back. What if I lose? What if the judge sides with Richard? Then you lose. But at least you fought. At least you didn't just roll over and accept what they did to you. She was right. I'd spent 2 years being a victim. Now I was fighting back. And it felt good. The hearing arrived. I sat in the courtroom, my hands shaking, as Patricia presented our case. She showed the emails. She explained how Richard and James had conspired to defraud me. She argued that the original divorce settlement should be set aside. Richard's lawyers argued that the emails were taken out of context, that Richard had done nothing wrong, that I was just a bitter ex-wife trying to get more money. The judge listened to both sides. Then he said he'd issue a ruling in 30 days. 30 days of waiting, 30 days of not knowing. It was torture. But I survived. And finally the ruling came. The judge sided with me. He found that Richard had committed fraud during our divorce, that he'd deliberately hidden assets and emptied our joint account without my knowledge or consent. He set aside the original divorce settlement, and he ordered a new settlement hearing. This time Richard would have to disclose all his assets, including his stake in Morrison Tech, and I would be entitled to half of a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars. When Patricia called to tell me, I cried. Not tears of sadness, tears of relief. I'd won. After 2 years of pain and betrayal, I'd finally won. The new settlement hearing was scheduled for 3 months later. In the meantime, Richard's life fell apart. The fraud allegations damaged Morrison Tech's reputation. Several major clients canceled their contracts. The IPO was postponed indefinitely. Investors were furious. And the board of directors forced Richard to step down as CEO. James was fired too. Turns out Sarah had been right. The board had been looking for an excuse to get rid of both of them. The fraud scandal gave them that excuse. I heard about James's firing through Melissa, who heard it from a friend who worked in tech. Part of me felt bad for him, but mostly I felt satisfied. He'd betrayed me for that job, and now he'd lost it. Karma really was a bitch. A week after James was fired, he showed up at my apartment again. This time I let him in. He looked terrible. Unshaven. Dark circles under his eyes. His expensive suit replaced with jeans and a t-shirt. "Vanessa," he said, "we need to talk." "Now you want to talk?" "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You were right. About everything. Richard screwed me over. Just like you said he would." "I know. I lost my job. I lost my equity. I lost everything." "Good." James flinched. "You're happy about this?" "Yes. You betrayed me. You helped Richard steal from me. You deserve to lose everything." "I'm your brother." "No, you're not. My brother wouldn't have done what you did." "Vanessa, please. I made a mistake. A huge mistake. But I'm sorry. Can't we move past this?" "Move past it?" "James, you helped Richard destroy my life. You conspired to defraud me. You lied to me for 2 years. And now you want me to just forgive you because you got caught." "I didn't get caught. I'm coming to you because I realize I was wrong." "You realize you were wrong because you lost everything. If you were still COO, if Richard hadn't screwed you over, you'd still be lying to me." James looked down. "Maybe. I don't know. But I'm here now. And I'm sorry." "Sorry isn't enough. What do you want from me?" "I want you to testify." James's head snapped up. "What?" "At the settlement hearing. I want you to testify about how you and Richard conspired to defraud me. I want you to tell the judge everything." "Vanessa, I can't. That would be admitting to fraud. I could face criminal charges." You should face criminal charges. You committed fraud. I'm your brother. You stopped being my brother when you betrayed me. Now you're just a witness. And I need your testimony. I can't do that. Then we have nothing to talk about. I walked to the door and opened it. Get out. Vanessa. Get out. James left. And I didn't feel bad about it. He'd made his choice. Now he had to live with it. 2 weeks later, I got a call from Patricia. Vanessa, you're not going to believe this. James's lawyer contacted me. He wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? James will testify at your settlement hearing. He'll tell the judge everything about the fraud. In exchange, you agree not to pursue criminal charges against him. Can I even pursue criminal charges? I'm not the DA. No, but you can file a complaint. And with your testimony and the emails, the DA would likely prosecute. James knows that. He's scared. Good. He should be scared. So do we take the deal? I thought about it. Part of me wanted James to face criminal charges. Wanted him to go to prison for what he'd done. But another part of me just wanted this to be over. Yes, I said finally. We take the deal. But I have one condition. What's that? James has to apologize. In court. In front of everyone. He has to admit what he did and apologize. I'll add that to the agreement. 3 months later, we were back in court. This time, the courtroom was packed. Reporters. Investors. People from Morrison Tech. Even some of my former friends who'd sided with Richard during the divorce. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. Richard sat at his table with his lawyers, looking furious. James sat in the witness box, looking terrified. And I sat next to Patricia, feeling strangely calm. Patricia called James to testify. He took the oath and sat down. Mr. Chun, Patricia said, can you describe your relationship to the plaintiff? She's my sister. And can you describe your relationship to the defendant? I was his COO. Until recently. And how did you come to work for Mr. Morrison? James took a deep breath. He offered me a job. During his divorce from my sister. And what did he ask you to do in exchange for that job? He asked me to help him hide assets from Vanessa. To help him structure the divorce settlement so she'd get as little as possible. The courtroom erupted in whispers. The judge banged his gavel. Order. Patricia continued. And did you help him? Yes. I advised him to empty their joint bank account and use the money to fund his company. I told him how to structure things so Vanessa couldn't prove fraud. I helped him lie to her and her lawyers. Why did you do this? Because Richard promised me a job. A high-paying job with equity in his company. I wanted that job. So I helped him. Did you know you were hurting your sister? James looked at me. His eyes were red. Yes, I knew. And I did it anyway. Because I cared more about money than about her. Do you regret it? Yes. I regret it every day. What I did was wrong. It was unforgivable. And I'm sorry. He turned to face me directly. Vanessa, I'm so sorry. I betrayed you. I hurt you. I chose money over family. And I'll regret it for the rest of my life. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. I stared at him. He was crying now. Real tears. Not the fake tears he cried when he was trying to manipulate me. Real remorse. I didn't say anything. Patricia continued questioning James for another hour. He told the judge everything. Every detail of the fraud. Every lie. Every manipulation. By the time he was done, Richard's case was destroyed. Richard's lawyers tried to cross-examine James, but there was nothing they could do. James had admitted everything. The judge called a recess. When we returned, he issued his ruling. I find that Mr. Morrison committed fraud during his divorce from Ms. Chun. He deliberately hid assets, emptied joint accounts, and conspired with Ms. Chen's brother to structure the settlement in his favor. This behavior is unconscionable. I am setting aside the original divorce settlement in its entirety. Ms. Chun is entitled to half of all marital assets, including Mr. Morrison's stake in Morrison Tech. Furthermore, I am awarding Ms. Chun punitive damages in the amount of $5 million for Mr. Morrison's fraudulent behavior. This court is adjourned. The gavel came down. I'd won. Not just won. I destroyed Richard. Half of his stake in Morrison Tech was worth approximately $150 million, plus $5 million in punitive damages. I was going to be rich. After the hearing, reporters swarmed me. Ms. Chun, how do you feel? Ms. Chun, what are you going to do with the money? Ms. Chun, do you forgive your brother? I pushed through them without answering. Melissa was waiting outside. She hugged me tight. You did it, she said. You actually did it. Yeah, I did. How do you feel? I don't know. Relieved? Vindicated? Exhausted? All of the above? Yeah, all of the above. We went to dinner to celebrate. Expensive dinner. The kind I could never afford before. But now I could afford anything. What are you going to do with all that money? Melissa asked. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. You should buy a house. A big house. With a pool. Maybe. Or maybe I'll travel. See the world. Do all the things I couldn't do when I was married to Richard. You could quit teaching. I thought about that. No. I like teaching. I'm good at it. And those kids need me. You're going to be a millionaire teacher? Why not? Money doesn't change who I am. Melissa smiled. No, doesn't. You're still the same Vanessa, just with a much better bank account. We laughed. For the first time in 2 years, I felt genuinely happy. A week later, James called me from yet another new number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, Vanessa. It's James. Please don't hang up. What do you want? I wanted to thank you for not pursuing criminal charges. I know I don't deserve your mercy, but thank you. I didn't do it for you. I did it because I wanted this to be over. I know, but still. Thank you. Silence. Vanessa, I know you probably never want to see me again. And I understand. But I want you to know that I'm getting help. I'm seeing a therapist. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. Why I valued money over family. Good for you. And I'm trying to make amends. I know I can't undo what I did. But I'm trying to be a better person. That's great, James. I hope it works out for you. Do you think someday we could have a relationship again? Not now. I know it's too soon. But someday. I thought about that. Did I want a relationship with James? A month ago, I would have said no. Absolutely not. Never. But now? Now I wasn't sure. I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe. Someday. But not now. I'm not ready. I understand. I'll wait. However long it takes. Don't wait for me, James. Live your life. Be a better person. And maybe if you really change, if you really become someone different, maybe we can talk again. Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. Goodbye, James. I hung up. And I felt okay. Not good. Not bad. Just okay. Maybe someday I'd forgive him. Maybe not. But either way, I was moving forward. My mother called a few days later. I answered. Vanessa, I saw the news. About the settlement. I'm so happy for you. Are you? Of course. You deserved that money. Richard was terrible to you. You didn't think so 2 months ago. 2 months ago, you told me I was being unreasonable. I was wrong. I see that now. I should have supported you. Yes, you should have. Can you forgive me? I don't know, Mom. You chose James over me. You knew he was working with Richard and you didn't tell me. You knew he'd helped Richard steal from me and you didn't tell me. You chose to protect him instead of me. I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was keeping the family together. By lying to me? I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you. That's the same thing, Mom. And you know it. My mother was quiet for a moment. You're right. I did lie. And I'm sorry. I should have told you the truth. I should have been on your side. Yes, you should have. Can we move past this? Can we rebuild our relationship? I don't know. I need time. How much time? I don't know. Maybe a lot. Maybe forever. I haven't decided yet. Vanessa, please. You're my daughter. I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have lied to me. I made a mistake. Can't you forgive me? Maybe. Eventually. But not now. Right now I'm still too angry. What can I do to make this right? Nothing. There's nothing you can do. You made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences. That's not fair. Life's not fair, Mom. I learned that when my husband cheated on me and my family betrayed me. I hung up, and I blocked her number. I wasn't ready to forgive her yet. Maybe I never would be, but that was okay. I didn't owe anyone forgiveness. I only owed myself peace. 6 months after the settlement, I bought a house. Not a mansion. Just a nice 3-bedroom house in a good neighborhood with a backyard and a garden. It was perfect. I spent weeks decorating it, making it mine, creating a space that felt like home. Melissa helped. We painted walls and hung pictures and picked out furniture. This is amazing, Melissa said, looking around my new living room. You did it, Vanessa. You really did it. Did what? You survived. You fought back. You won. And now you're building a new life. Yeah, I guess I am. Are you happy? I thought about that. Yeah, think I am. For the first time in years, I'm actually happy. You deserve it. Thanks. We sat on my new couch drinking wine, looking out at my backyard. Have you heard from James? Melissa asked. No, not since that phone call 6 months ago. Do you miss him? Sometimes. I miss the brother I thought I had. But that person never really existed. The real James is someone who'd betray his own sister for money. And I don't miss that person. What about your mom? Same thing. I miss the mom I thought I had. But the real mom chose to protect James instead of me. And I don't miss that person either. So you're really done with them? I don't know if I'm done forever. But I'm done for now. I need to focus on myself. On building a life that makes me happy. And they're not part of that life right now. That's fair. We sat in comfortable silence. What about Richard? Melissa asked. Have you heard from him? God, no. And I hope I never do. His lawyers are handling the asset transfer. I don't have to see him or talk to him. How much did you end up getting? After taxes and legal fees? About $90 million. Melissa whistled. 90 million. That's insane. I know. I still can't believe it's real. What are you going to do with it all? I've been thinking about that. I'm going to keep teaching. I love my job. But I'm also going to start a foundation. A foundation? Yeah, for women going through difficult divorces. Women who are being taken advantage of by their spouses. I want to provide legal support, financial advice, counseling. I want to help women fight back the way I did. Melissa's eyes filled with tears. Vanessa, that's beautiful. I had good lawyers. I had resources. I had support. A lot of women don't have that. They get screwed over in their divorces and they have no way to fight back. I want to change that. You're amazing. You know that. I'm just trying to turn something terrible into something good. That's what makes you amazing. I smiled. For the first time in years, I felt like I had a purpose. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was thriving. A year after the settlement, I launched the foundation. I called it Second Chances, because that's what I was giving women. A second chance to fight for what they deserved. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of women reached out. Women who'd been cheated on, lied to, stolen from. Women who needed help. I hired lawyers, therapists, financial advisors. I created a whole team dedicated to helping these women. And it felt good. It felt like I was making a difference. The foundation got media attention. I was interviewed on news programs, featured in magazines, invited to speak at conferences. People called me an inspiration, a role model, a fighter. It was weird, but also kind of nice. I'd gone from being a victim to being a survivor to being an advocate, and I was proud of that. One day I got an email from Sarah. Hi Vanessa. I saw the news about your foundation. It's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I wanted you to know that I've been volunteering at a women's shelter, helping women who are leaving abusive relationships. Your courage inspired me to do something meaningful with my life. Thank you for that. I know we'll probably never be friends, but I wanted you to know that you changed my life. Sarah. I read that email 3 times. Then I responded, thank you for reaching out. And thank you for giving me those emails. Without them, I never would have been able to fight back. I'm glad you're doing good work now. We all deserve second chances. Even you. Vanessa. Felt good to let go of that anger. Sarah had done something terrible, but she'd also helped me when she didn't have to, and she was trying to be better. That was enough. 2 years after the settlement, I ran into James at a coffee shop. It was completely by accident. I was picking up my morning latte before work, and there he was standing in line. He saw me and froze. Vanessa. James. We stared at each other. He looked different. Older. More tired. But also calmer. More at peace. How are you? He asked. I'm good. Really good. You? I'm okay. I'm working as a consultant now. Nothing fancy. But it's honest work. That's good. I saw the news about your foundation. It's incredible. You're doing amazing things. Thanks. Awkward silence. Vanessa, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I'm still sorry. Every day, I'm sorry for what I did to you. I looked at him, really looked at him, and I realized something. I wasn't angry anymore. I've been angry for so long. Angry at James. Angry at Richard. Angry at my mother. Angry at the world. But somewhere along the way, the anger had faded. It had been replaced by something else. Something lighter. Peace. I know you are, I said. And I appreciate that. Do you think we could get coffee sometime? Just talk. I thought about it. 2 years ago, I would have said no. 1 year ago, I would have said no. But now? Yeah, I said. I think we could do that. James's face lit up. Really? Really? But James, I need you to understand something. I'm not doing this because I've forgiven you. I'm not sure I'll ever fully forgive you. I'm doing this because I'm ready to move forward. And maybe that means having some kind of relationship with you. But it's going to be different. It's never going to be what it was. I understand. And I'll take whatever you're willing to give. Okay, give me your number. I'll text you. We exchanged numbers. And then I left. As I drove to work, I felt good. Not because I'd forgiven James. I wasn't sure I had. But because I'd made a choice. A choice to move forward instead of staying stuck in the past. A choice to see if healing was possible. And that felt like progress. I texted James a week later. We met for coffee at a neutral location. A busy Starbucks where we could talk without too much pressure. It was awkward at first. We made small talk. Talked about the weather. About work. About nothing important. But slowly we started talking about real things. I've been in therapy, James said. For over a year now. Trying to understand why I did what I did. And? Have you figured it out? Sort of. My therapist says I have issues with self-worth. That I've always measured my value by external success. Money. Status. Achievement. And when Richard offered me that job, it felt like validation. Like proof that I was worth something. So you sacrificed me for validation? Yeah, basically. And I know how messed up that is. I know I should have valued our relationship more than some job. But at the time I couldn't see that. All I could see was the opportunity. Do you see it now? Yeah, I see it now. Too late, but I see it. We sat in silence for a moment. I'm not the same person I was 2 years ago, James said. I've lost everything. My job, my money, my family. And it forced me to look at myself. Really look at myself. And I didn't like what I saw. And now I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be the kind of person who values people over profit. Who values family over success. It's hard. But I'm trying. That's good. Vanessa, I know I can't undo what I did. I know I can't give you back the years of pain I caused. But I want you to know that I'm genuinely sorry. And I'm genuinely trying to change. I looked at him. And I believed him. Okay, I said. I believe you. Does that mean you forgive me? No. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But it means I'm willing to see if we can build something new. Not the relationship we had before. But something different. Something honest. I'll take it. We finished our coffee and made plans to meet again in a month. Baby steps. That's all I could handle. But it was something. 3 years after the settlement, my mother reached out again. She sent a letter. An actual handwritten letter. Dear Vanessa, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know I hurt you. But I need you to know that I'm sorry. Truly deeply sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I chose to protect James instead of supporting you. I prioritized keeping the peace over doing what was right, and I've regretted it every day since. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to want a relationship with me, but I needed you to know that I'm sorry, and that I'm proud of you, proud of how you fought back, proud of the foundation you created, proud of the woman you've become. You're stronger than I ever was, and I'm sorry I didn't see that sooner. With love, Mom. I read that letter 5 times. Then I put it in a drawer. I wasn't ready to respond yet, but I didn't throw it away either. Maybe someday I'd be ready to talk to her. Maybe not. But I was keeping the door open. Just a crack. 5 years after the settlement, I was invited to give a TED Talk. The topic, Fighting Back. How I reclaimed my life after betrayal. I stood on that stage in front of thousands of people and told my story. I talked about Richard's betrayal, about James's betrayal, about the pain and anger and grief, but I also talked about fighting back, about refusing to be a victim, about building a new life from the ashes of the old one. Betrayal is devastating, I said, especially when it comes from people you love, people you trust. It makes you question everything. Your judgment, your worth, your ability to trust anyone ever again. But here's what I learned. Betrayal doesn't define you. How you respond to it defines you. You can let it destroy you. You can become bitter and angry and stuck in the past. Or you can fight back. You can demand justice. You can rebuild. You can create something new and beautiful from the ruins. I chose to fight back. And it wasn't easy. It took years. It took therapy and lawyers and support from friends. It took courage I didn't know I had. But I did it. I fought back. I won. And I built a life that's better than anything I had before. So if you're going through betrayal right now, if someone you love has hurt you, I want you to know you can survive this. You can fight back. You can win. Don't let them make you a victim. Don't let them steal your power. Fight back. Demand justice. And build the life you deserve. The audience gave me a standing ovation. Afterward, dozens of people came up to me. Women who'd been betrayed. Women who were fighting back. Women who just needed to hear that survival was possible. I talked to all of them because I remembered what it felt like to be in that dark place. To feel hopeless and powerless and alone. And if I could help even one person feel less alone, it was worth it. That night, I got a text from James. I watched your TED Talk. You were amazing. I'm so proud of you. And I'm so sorry I'm part of the painful story you had to tell. But I'm glad you're using your pain to help others. That's who you are. That's who you've always been. Love, James. I stared at that text for a long time. Then I responded, thank you. I'm proud of who I've become too. See you next month for coffee. Absolutely. James and I had been meeting for coffee once a month for 3 years now. It wasn't a close relationship. We didn't talk every day. We didn't share our deepest secrets. But it was something. A fragile connection. A tentative rebuilding. And that was enough. I still hadn't reconnected with my mother. I'd responded to her letter a year after she sent it. A brief note saying I appreciated her apology and I needed more time. She'd respected that. She hadn't pushed. She just sent a card on my birthday each year with a simple message. Thinking of you. Love, Mom. Maybe someday I'd be ready for more. But not yet. 7 years after the settlement, I met someone. His name was David. He was a high school history teacher. We met at a teacher's conference. He was kind, funny, genuine, and he had no idea who I was. He didn't know about Richard or the divorce or the settlement or the foundation. He just knew me as Vanessa, a third-grade teacher who loved books and coffee and bad reality TV. It was refreshing. We dated for 6 months before I told him my story. We were having dinner at my house. I'd cooked pasta. We were drinking wine. And I just told him everything. David listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Wow, that's a lot." "Yeah, it is. And I understand if it's too much. If you want to walk away, walk away." Why would I walk away? Because I come with a lot of baggage, a lot of history, a lot of complications. Vanessa, everyone has baggage. Yours is just more dramatic than most. But it doesn't change who you are. You're still the same person I've been dating for 6 months. The person I'm falling in love with. I stared at him. You're falling in love with me? Yeah, I am. Is that okay? I started crying. Yes, that's very okay. David pulled me into a hug, and for the first time since Richard, I felt safe with someone. We got married 2 years later. It was a small ceremony, just close friends. Melissa was my maid of honor. James came. We'd rebuilt enough of a relationship that I wanted him there. My mother didn't come. I hadn't invited her. I still wasn't ready, but my father came. He flew in from Florida with his wife. I'm proud of you, Vanessa, he said. You survived something that would have destroyed most people, and you didn't just survive. You thrived. Thanks, Dad. David's a good man. He'll treat you right. I know. My father hugged me. You deserve to be happy. I am happy. Finally. And I meant it. I was happy. Genuinely, completely happy. I had a husband who loved me. A job I enjoyed. A foundation that was helping hundreds of women. A life that was mine. Richard had tried to destroy me. James had betrayed me. My mother had chosen wrong. But I'd survived all of it. I'd fought back. I'd won. And I'd built something beautiful from the ruins. 10 years after the settlement, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello, Vanessa? It's Richard. I froze. I hadn't heard his voice in 10 years. What do you want? I wanted to apologize. I know it's 10 years too late, but I needed to say it. I'm sorry for what I did to you, for cheating on you, for stealing from you, for everything. Why are you calling me now? Because I'm dying. Cancer. Stage 4. I have maybe 6 months left. I didn't know what to say. I've been thinking a lot about my life, Richard continued. About the choices I made, the people I hurt, and I realized I never apologized to you. Not really. And I wanted to do that before I die. Okay, you apologize. Is that all? I also wanted you to know that you were right. About everything. I was a terrible husband, terrible person. I hurt you because I was selfish and greedy and I thought I deserved more than I had. And now I realize I had everything I needed. I had a wife who loved me, a good life, and I threw it all away for money and status and a company that doesn't even exist anymore. Morrison Tech went under 3 years ago. Turns out, without me and James, the company fell apart. The investors pulled out. The clients left. It's gone. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? No, not really. But it seemed like the polite thing to say. Richard laughed. A sad, bitter laugh. You always were too nice, even when I didn't deserve it. Is there a point to this call, Richard? Just to say I'm sorry, and to tell you that I'm glad you're happy. I saw the news about your wedding, about your foundation. You built a good life, better than anything you would have had with me. I know. Goodbye, Vanessa. Goodbye, Richard. I hung up, and I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no sadness. Just nothing. Richard was dying, and I didn't care. He'd hurt me so badly, destroyed my life, stolen from me, but I'd moved on. I'd built a new life, a better life, and he was just a ghost from my past, a ghost that no longer had any power over me. I told David about the call that night. How do you feel? He asked. I don't know. I thought I'd feel something, anger or satisfaction or something, but I just feel empty. Maybe that's good. Maybe it means you've really moved on. Maybe. Do you regret anything? About how you handled everything? I thought about that. No, I don't regret fighting back. I don't regret exposing Richard and James. I don't regret any of it. Even though it cost you your relationship with your family? My family betrayed me first. I just refused to pretend it didn't happen. Do you think you'll ever reconcile with your mom? I don't know. Maybe. She's been respectful. She hasn't pushed. Maybe someday I'll be ready. And James. James and I have coffee once a month. It's not much, but it's something. That's good. Yeah, it is. David pulled me close. I'm proud of you. You know that. For what? For surviving. For fighting back. For building this incredible life. You're the strongest person I know. I'm not strong. I just refuse to give up. That's what makes you strong. I smiled and kissed him, and I realized something. I'd spent so many years focused on what I'd lost. My marriage, my money, my family, but I'd gained so much more. I'd gained strength, courage, purpose. I'd gained a foundation that was helping hundreds of women. I'd gained a husband who truly loved me. I'd gained a life that was authentically mine. Richard had tried to destroy me, but he'd failed. I'd survived, and I'd thrived. 15 years after the settlement, my mother died. Heart attack. Sudden. She was 78. James called to tell me, "Vanessa, I have bad news. Mom passed away last night." I sat down. What happened? Heart attack. She was at home. It was quick. Oh, the funeral is next week. Will you come? I thought about it. I hadn't seen my mother in 15 years. We'd exchanged birthday cards, brief emails, but we'd never reconciled. And now she was gone. Yes, I said. I'll come. The funeral was small, just family and a few close friends. I sat in the back next to David. James gave the eulogy. He talked about what a good mother she'd been, how much she'd loved her children, how proud she'd been of both of us. I listened and felt sad, not devastated, not broken, just sad. Sad for what could have been. Sad for the relationship we never rebuilt. Sad for the time we'd lost. After the service, James approached me. "Thank you for coming." "Of course. Mom would have been happy you were here." "Would she?" "Yes. She talked about you all the time. She was so proud of you, of your foundation, of everything you'd accomplished. She never told me that. She wanted to, but she didn't think you'd want to hear from her. I don't know if I would have. She understood. She knew she'd hurt you. She knew she'd made the wrong choice. And she regretted it every day." I felt tears in my eyes. I wish she'd told me that. She tried. She wrote you letters, dozens of them, but she never sent them. She didn't think you'd read them. Where are they? At her house. In her desk. I can give them to you if you want. Yes, I want them. James gave me the letters a week later. There were 43 of them, one for each year of my life after the betrayal. I read them all. They were full of regret, apologies, updates about her life, questions about mine. "I saw you on the news today. You looked beautiful. I'm so proud of you. I heard you got married. I wish I could have been there. I hope he makes you happy. I made a terrible mistake 15 years ago. I chose wrong, and I've regretted it every day since. I love you, Vanessa. I've always loved you. I'm sorry I didn't show it when it mattered most." I cried reading those letters. Cried for my mother. Cried for our lost relationship. Cried for all the years we could have had together if she'd just been brave enough to send them. Why didn't she send them? I asked James when I called him. She was scared. Scared you'd reject her. Scared you'd throw them away without reading them. She thought it was better to stay silent than to risk more pain. That's so stupid. I know, but that was Mom. She avoided conflict, even when avoiding it cost her everything. I would have read them. If she'd sent them, I would have read them. I know, but she didn't know that. I hung up and looked at the stack of letters. 43 letters. 43 years of regret and love and apology. All unsent. All too late. I put them in a box and stored them in my closet. I couldn't throw them away, but I couldn't keep looking at them either. They were too painful. A reminder of what could have been. 20 years after the settlement, I retired from teaching. I was 62 years old. I taught third grade for 40 years. It was time. I wanted to focus on the foundation full-time. We'd helped over 5,000 women in 20 years. But there were so many more who needed help. My retirement party was huge. Current students, former students, parents, colleagues. One of my former students, now a lawyer, gave a speech. "Miss Chun changed my life," she said. "She taught me to read. She taught me to believe in myself. She taught me that I could be anything I wanted to be. And now I'm a lawyer because of her. Because she believed in me when no one else did. I cried. Teaching had been my calling, my purpose. But now I had a new purpose. Helping women fight back. The foundation grew. We opened offices in 5 states. We hired more lawyers, more therapists, more staff. We helped women leave abusive marriages. We helped them fight for fair settlements. We helped them rebuild their lives. And every woman we helped felt like a victory over Richard, over James, over everyone who tried to make me a victim. I wasn't a victim. I was a survivor. And I was helping other women survive too. 25 years after the settlement, James got married. He'd been dating a woman named Rachel for 3 years. She was a social worker. Kind, grounded, good for him. He invited me to the wedding. I went. It was a small ceremony, just family and close friends. I sat in the front row next to David, and I watched my brother get married. He looked happy, genuinely happy, and I was happy for him. We'd rebuilt our relationship slowly over the years. We weren't as close as we'd been before. We never would be, but we had something. Connection. A fragile bond. And that was enough. At the reception, James pulled me aside. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Of course. You're my brother." "Am I?" "After everything I did. You're my brother. You'll always be my brother. Even when I hate you. Even when I can't forgive you. You're still my brother." James's eyes filled with tears. "I don't deserve you." "No, you don't. But you're trying to be better. And that counts for something." "I am trying. Every day I'm trying." "I know. I can see it." "Vanessa, I need you to know something. I've spent 25 years regretting what I did to you. 25 years wishing I could go back and make a different choice. And I know I can't. I know I can never undo the pain I caused. But I want you to know that I'm sorry. And I'll be sorry for the rest of my life." "I know, James. I know. Do you forgive me?" I thought about that question. Did I forgive him? I've been asking myself that for 25 years. "I don't know," I said honestly. "Part of me does. Part of me understands that you were young and stupid and you made a terrible mistake. But another part of me still remembers the pain, still remembers the betrayal. And that part isn't ready to forgive. That's fair. But James, I don't hate you anymore. And I don't want revenge anymore. I just want us both to be happy. And if that means having some kind of relationship, even a complicated one, then I'm okay with that." "Me too." We hugged. And it felt okay. Not perfect. Not healed. But okay. 30 years after the settlement, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Stage 2. Treatable. But scary. I had surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. It was brutal. But I survived. Because that's what I did. I survived. David was with me every step of the way, holding my hand through chemo, bringing me soup when I was too sick to eat, sleeping in a chair next to my hospital bed. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. "We're in this together." And we were. James visited me in the hospital. He brought flowers and books and sat with me for hours. "I'm scared," I admitted one day. "I know, but you're going to beat this. You're the strongest person I know." "I don't feel strong." "You are. You've survived so much. You'll survive this too." And I did. 6 months later, I was cancer-free. The doctors said I was lucky. They caught it early. I felt lucky. Lucky to be alive. Lucky to have David. Lucky to have a life worth fighting for. 35 years after the settlement, I was invited to the White House. The president was honoring women who'd made significant contributions to society. My foundation had helped over 20,000 women by that point. We'd changed laws. We'd set precedents. We'd made a real difference. And the president wanted to recognize that. I stood in the East Room, surrounded by incredible women, and received an award. "Vanessa Chun has dedicated her life to helping women fight back against injustice," the president said. "Her foundation has provided legal support, financial assistance, and emotional counseling to thousands of women going through difficult divorces. She's changed lives. She's changed laws. She's changed the world. And we're honored to recognize her today." The room applauded. I looked out at the crowd and saw David, Saw Melissa. Saw James. All the people who'd supported me, who'd believed in me, who'd helped me build this life. And I felt grateful. Grateful for the journey. Grateful for the pain that had led me here. Grateful for the strength I'd found. I wouldn't change anything. Not the betrayal. Not the divorce. Not the years of pain. Because all of it had led me here. To this moment. To this life. To this purpose. 40 years after the settlement, I wrote a book. Fighting Back, My Journey from Betrayal to Triumph. It was a memoir. My story. Everything that had happened. The betrayal. The discovery. The fight. The victory. The rebuilding. All of it. The book became a bestseller. Women around the world read it. They reached out to me. They shared their own stories of betrayal and survival. And I listened to all of them because I understood. I'd been where they were. And I wanted them to know that survival was possible. That fighting back was possible. That building a new life was possible. I went on a book tour. Spoke at events. Did interviews. And everywhere I went, women thanked me. You inspired me to leave my abusive husband. You gave me the courage to fight for what I deserved. You showed me that I could survive. Those words meant everything to me. Because that's why I'd written the book. Not for fame or money, but to help women know they weren't alone. That they could fight back. That they could win. 45 years after the settlement, David died. Heart attack. Sudden. He was 78. We'd been married for 37 years. 37 beautiful years. I was devastated, but I survived. Because that's what I did. I survived. James was there for me. He helped me plan the funeral. He sat with me when I couldn't stop crying. He reminded me that I wasn't alone. You've survived so much, he said. You'll survive this too. I don't want to survive. I want David back. I know, but he wouldn't want you to give up. He'd want you to keep living. Keep fighting. Keep helping women. He was right. David would want me to keep going. So I did. I threw myself into the foundation. Worked longer hours. Helped more women. And slowly the pain eased. Not disappeared. Never disappeared. But eased. 50 years after the settlement, I was 92 years old. I'd lived a long life. A full life. A meaningful life. The foundation was still going strong. Run by a team of incredible people who shared my vision. We'd helped over 100,000 women. 100,000 women who'd fought back. Who'd demanded justice. Who'd rebuilt their lives. I was proud of that. Proud of what I'd built from the ashes of my broken marriage. James was still alive. 94 years old. Still sharp. Still trying to make amends. We had coffee once a month. We'd been doing it for 50 years. Do you forgive me yet? He asked one day. I thought about it. Yes, I said. I think I do. Really? Really? Took 50 years. But I forgive you. James started crying. Thank you. Thank you so much. You've spent 50 years trying to be better. Trying to make amends. That counts for something. I'm sorry it took me so long to realize what I'd done. I'm sorry it took me so long to forgive you. We both made mistakes. Yeah, we did. We sat in comfortable silence. I'm proud of you, Vanessa, James said. Proud of everything you've accomplished. Proud of the woman you became. Thanks, James. I'm proud of you too. You're not the man you were 50 years ago. You're better. I tried to be. You succeeded. We finished our coffee, and I realized something. I'd spent 50 years angry, 50 years hurt, 50 years fighting, but I'd also spent 50 years building, creating, helping. And in the end, the building mattered more than the anger. The helping mattered more than the hurt. The creating mattered more than the fighting. I turned my pain into purpose, my betrayal into triumph, my broken life into something beautiful. And that was enough. More than enough. It was everything. I died 6 months later. Peacefully. In my sleep. Surrounded by photos of David and Melissa and all the people I'd loved. My obituary was long. Vanessa Chun, founder of Second Chances Foundation, dies at 92. She helped over 100,000 women fight back against injustice. She changed laws. She changed lives. She changed the world. But that's not what I wanted to be remembered for. I wanted to be remembered as someone who refused to be a victim, someone who fought back, someone who survived, someone who turned pain into purpose, someone who proved that betrayal doesn't have to destroy you, that you can rebuild, that you can thrive, that you can win. Because I did. I saw my brother on TV standing beside my ex-husband, and instead of accepting it, I fought back. I exposed them. I demanded justice. I won. And I built a life that was better than anything I'd had before. That's my legacy. Not the money, not the foundation, not the awards, but the proof that survival is possible, that fighting back is possible, that winning is possible. And if my story helps even one woman find the courage to fight back, then it was all worth it. Every moment of pain, every moment of betrayal, every moment of struggle, all worth it. 'Cause I didn't just survive, I thrived. And so can you. Did you like my story? And which city are you listening from? Let's meet in the comments. If you enjoyed Vanessa's journey of betrayal, justice, and ultimate triumph, you can support me by sending a super thanks so I can keep bringing more powerful stories like this. Your support means everything and helps me continue sharing these stories about courage, resilience, and the power of fighting back. I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts and comments about Vanessa's journey. What would you have done if you discovered your brother working with your ex? Do you think she made the right choices? Have you ever been betrayed by family? Share your thoughts below. On the screen, you can see 2 new life stories that I highly recommend: stories of family betrayal, hidden truths, and the courage to demand justice. There's so much more on my channel about people who refused to be victims and fought back against those who wronged them. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a story. Thank you so much for your sweet support and for being part of this community. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.